Now we're going to move to something that is just, it's so shocking, and yet it reveals the thinking. It reveals the thinking in the American Academy of Pediatrics, who's now become on my hit list. They are on my hit list. Are you ready? In a controversial change to long-standing policy concerning the practice of female circumcision in some cultures, the American Academy of Pediatrics is suggesting American doctors be given permission to perform a ceremonial nick on girls' genitals from these cultures to draw some blood, and maybe it'll keep these families from sending these kids overseas for full circumcision. The Academy's Committee on Bioethics in a policy statement last week said some pediatricians suggested the current federal law, which makes it a criminal act for any medical or non-medical procedure performed on the genitals of a girl in the United States. And some doctors said, well, it's had the unintended consequences of driving some families to take their daughters to other countries. I'm sure the Academy had only good intentions, but what the recommendation has done is only create confusion whether female genital mutilation is acceptable in any form. And it's a wrong step forward. This is a representative from New York who introduced a bill toughening federal laws, making a crime to take a girl overseas to be circumcised. Intact America Executive Director Georgianne Chapin says she's astonished that a group of intelligent people did not see the utter slippery slope that we put physicians on with a new policy statement. How much blood will parents be satisfied with? There are countries in the world, she says, that allow wife-beating, slavery, child abuse, but we don't allow people to practice these customs. We don't let people have a little slavery because they're going to do it anyway, or beat their wives a little bit because they're going to do it anyway. And the people behind this are saying, well, this is just like getting a little girl's ears pierced. No. If we just told parents, no, this is wrong, our concern is they may take their daughters back to their home countries. The Academy statement acknowledges that opponents of the procedure, including women from African countries, oppose any compromise that will legitimize even the most minimal procedure. But of course, we don't listen to people from other cultures when they tell us how they want to do things because we think our culture has all the answers to all problems. This is the epitome of it. And they're going to come out with a statement on male circumcision soon. That's going to be very interesting, and this, of course, will thoroughly undermine any credibility they might want to bring to that. If you medicalize it and say it's permissible, some people will misunderstand it and go beyond a nick, yes? The risk that people denied the ceremony procedure, usually on the clitoris, would opt for the more harmful one was much more dangerous, she says. Anyway, what do you think about that? So listen, you want to get involved in this? I think it's reasonable. This is just preposterous. This is so backwards. And, you know, sooner or later we have to realize that we can't completely change the world and the world's cultures and practices. Listen, of course we all agree on this issue. It's how to go about ending the practice. That's where you might find some differences. So, if you want to go over to, Intact America, that's the new big daddy when it comes down to all of this. So intactamerica.org, get involved. This is a slippery slope. And how the American, you'd think that we've solved all problems of children in America. Wouldn't you? When they come up with something like this, genital cut, a little nick, just make your baby, let's cut her clitoris a little bit, make her bleed a little bit to satisfy what? Okay, let's talk to, Perry. How you doing, Perry? Welcome to the program.
Hey, how you doing, Doctor?
Fine, sir.
I have a 3-year-old little boy, and we noticed back when he was 12 months old, something like that the foreskin on his penis doesn't retract all the way. Mm-hmm. It's almost connected, or I should say it is connected to the head of his penis, fused. We asked the pediatrician about it. She gave us some cream and said that as he gets older, it'll retract itself. Well, now he's 3, and it hasn't really changed, and I'm wondering what your
yes,
what
wow,
your thinking
wow,
is on it.
Yes, okay, Perry. This is an easy one, and I have a semi applause for your pediatrician who gave you some good advice, but didn't put real numbers on it. What the pediatrician meant to say, it may not retract until the child is well past puberty. It should not be fully retractable at this particular age. Do not do anything to retract it. I'm not sure exactly what the cream was. Some creams, there are creams that are used in female babies where embryologically, they don't separate and create the full deal. And, I don't think that would work in a young male. And so let's go over this. You should not bemoan the non-retractability, until a child is, getting towards 20. And there are so many errors made here only because most American pediatricians have never trained a foreskin because, when I began this radio show, 90-something% of all little boys were circumcised. I'm happy to tell you it's in the country as a whole, as you know, the majority of boys in the West, by that I mean the Western United States, are left intact. In the East, it's still different. And that overall, nationally, just a little over half of boys are still circumcised. That's an amazing social and cultural change in the course of a couple of decades. So I think that's quite remarkable. So you did the right thing. Nevertheless, it's pediatricians who are not caught up on how to deal with this. And I hear we've had, I would say, maybe 50 calls in the last decade of people who went to the pediatrician who said, you got to try and retract, a toddler's foreskin. You do not do it. You'll tear it. You'll make it worse. And then you'll get scar tissue and you'll never get it back without a little extra semi-surgical help. So just leave it alone, for cleaning purposes. If it's retractable, which you'll find out very quickly by gently, a little tug, if you insist on doing that. But even that is not considered necessary in a child. So leave it alone and it'll be fine. And the pediatrician gave you the right information. It's just that when she said it'll retract soon, give it some time. You figured, hey, I'll take a year and that'll be it. So you got about 10, 15 years before you need to think about this problem again. All right. I can't read this whole email on the air, but he uses a phrase here that we, in terms of the American Academy of Pediatricians, suggesting that we do a little nick and draw a little blood on little girls' genitals to satisfy parents who might want to circumcise little girls. He suggests moils, instead of doing brisses, should inflict a paper cut on baby boys' penises. And I thought of the term paper cut. Yeah, that's a really nice thing to do, your baby little girl, your baby little boy when they're born. Welcome to life, friends. Okay, could you spread your legs, please? We got a little procedure we have to do there. You have no right as a parent to inflict unnecessary surgery on your children's genitals. That's all. It's plain and simple. And if you live in a culture where you think this is appropriate, if you come from places in the Middle East or in East Africa, etc., I would beg you, why don't you just wait until your kids grow up? If you think your daughter's not going to be able to get married if she's not circumcised, why don't you wait till she grows up? Because you're living here now, and it's likely your daughter's going to grow up here, and it's likely she's going to reject the cultural baggage you're going to try and lay on her. And if she wants to marry a man from that part of the world and he has these beliefs, then she can go get herself circumcised quickly, right? Let her make the decision. The same with your little boys. Let them make a decision. All right? The rest is easy. You're not ethically allowed to do plastic surgery on your children unless it's some horrible disfiguring type of a deal. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what this is, right?